Hello, hello, beautiful people. We have an extremely exciting, juicy topic for today: how past life healing transforms your current life. This is a topic that is so near and dear to my heart because I have really been pretty profoundly involved in past life work over the past 10 to 12 years, both personally and with the beautiful people that I work with. And it is amazing, transformative work to do. So we're going to talk about three very powerful, profound ways that past life healing, past life work, past life exploration can really transform your current life. And number one, the first way that past life work, past life healing, past life exploration really transforms your life is because you receive such a greater understanding and clarity about what is going on in this life. Part of what is going on in this incarnation is working out things, balancing, bringing peace, harmony, and forgiveness to major relationships from the past. Now, of course, we're talking about past lives. Of course, time doesn't actually exist, so these are all parallel lives, but conventionally we tend to refer to them as past lives. So I will use that distinction just to call them past lives. So we can just have such a greater understanding about what the heck is going on in this lifetime with some of these relationships that feel really challenging. We can understand them from a past life perspective. It's huge. It is just huge, huge, huge. It has helped me so much. It has helped my clients so much. Okay, the second way that being involved in past life work can really help us is we can actually, this is amazing, we can change the past. Well, it's parallel. We can change what actually has happened or is happening in these other incarnations, in these other lifetimes. We can bring healing to past lives. Amazing, right? Amazing, amazing. It's amazing. I have personally experienced bringing healing to past lives and literally seeing relationships in this life completely transform. Completely transform. It is mind-blowing. And the third way that being involved in past life work can really transform our current life is because when we go in and we connect with these other aspects of ourselves that we're living past lives, or they really are simultaneously living with them, we can connect with them. We're very much related to these other aspects. We're all fractals of our higher self coming down here in these incarnations, and we can receive messages, directions, and direct gifts from these other aspects of ourselves. And I've experienced this. I have worked with clients who have experienced this. So I really can't say enough about past life work. I know a lot of people are involved in it, but I really invite all of us to be involved in it. And it's also just super duper interesting. It's really, really fascinating to connect with these other aspects of yourself and learn more about what your soul has been up to in all of these different adventures in different incarnations. So I can't say enough about it. It has been such a gift to my life and the people I work with to do this past life work. Okay, so just I wanted to share how I became involved in past life work and what I might say might possibly trigger or activate something in you about this. So I'm curious. Please let me know in the comments if this resonates with you. Okay, so this is how I started to become involved in past lives. I was picking up on past lives energies my whole life, but I didn't fully understand it until really the past 10 to 12 years. So for instance, when I was growing up in my family of origin, I just always had this sense that my mom and my sister were really, really connected in a way that I was not connected to either one of them. There was some really deep connection they had. And honestly, in our family, it was my mother, my father, my sister, and me, 4 of us. In that family, it energetically felt like my mother and my sister were a couple. Like they were the ones that seemed the closest, and it was kind of like them. And then my dad and myself were just sort of on the outskirts, not really so connected. It felt like they were a couple. And I just didn't, I felt it, but I didn't understand why. Then, okay, fast forward to my marriage with my now ex-husband. When I first married my ex-husband, he had a little baby daughter. His wife had died shortly after childbirth. So it was him and then this little 18-month-old daughter. And so we all came together when we got married. So I was living with my ex-husband and his very young stepdaughter. And wouldn't you know, I had the same feeling. It felt like there was just this massive connection between my ex-husband and his stepdaughter. And I know, of course, this would make sense. They're related. It's parent-child. But it felt bigger than that, just like I had experienced in my family of origin, a very similar feeling. They felt like a couple. And just to give another example of something a little bit different is, this is not a very cheerful example, but I want to share it just because other people might have these same experiences. Moving again, fast forward to my divorce custody situation with this ex-husband, who we now are very, very peaceful. He's amazing. It's all worked out. But during certain courtroom experiences that I had, it energetically felt very, very violent. Very violent. And again, my thinking mind just couldn't quite understand, why does this feel so violent? And it turns out in previous lifetimes, amongst this group of people and myself, there was actual violence that was being energetically played out in this lifetime for healing energetically. So those are just a few examples of when we sense something energetically and we can't quite put our finger on it in terms of what is going on in this lifetime. So if you have some deep energetic sense about something, like something just feels like something, it could be from a past life. That has been my experience over and over and over again. Another example of this is you meet someone in this lifetime and you have an immediate, strong reaction. It could be positive. It could be like, oh my gosh, you feel so familiar. You feel like my long lost best friend. So for instance, that's how I felt when I first connected with my twin flame. And that would make sense because we have literally spent thousands of lifetimes together in other incarnations. Or you might have the experience of meeting someone for the first time and you can't put your finger on it, but there is some very negative feeling. It could be a feeling of revulsion, of just real distaste. So if you have a really profound energetic feeling about someone and you don't have any background or context in this lifetime, then likely, possibly, you have had experiences with them in a previous lifetime. And you're energetically feeling the truth, although the thinking mind does not understand it. So tuning into these past life energies actually really helps us to learn to just be out of our thinking mind and to trust the energy that we are feeling in our bodies. It's actually a really good practice. It's something that we want to be doing anyway. So that's another added benefit of this type of exploration is we really tune into what am I feeling? What is my body feeling? Not necessarily what I'm thinking. I can't quite make sense of why I'm sensing this about these people, but I'm feeling it. Okay, so that's how I just time and time again, I was just having these feelings about people in my life, and I couldn't make sense of it. So that was like my precursor to a fuller exploration of past lives. And then what happened was during my divorce custody situation, I had this guidance, just the words Akashic Records just were in neon lights up here in my third eye. And I was really guided to go into the Akashic Records. So just for anyone who's not familiar with the Akashic Records are an energetic compendium of all events, thoughts, words, behaviors, emotions, intents to have ever occurred in the past, present, or future from all life forms. So it's basically where we can access the records of the histories of our past lives. So I started going into the Akashic Records with an amazing woman who was familiar with doing that work. And over time, she helped me become more comfortable going into the Akashic Records myself. So I started out with basically a mentor, and then I learned how to go into the Akashic Records myself. And oh my gosh, especially during that divorce custody situation, I was going into the Akashic Records all the time. And it's not just records of past lives, but also your guides are there, and you can also just receive a lot of guidance. So I was also receiving a lot of guidance. And so I became just very, very familiar, very comfortable in the Akashic Records. And I do think once you've established that relationship in the Akashic Records, you don't even necessarily have to formally go into them for the downloads, for the information from the Akashic Records to flow through you. So that has been my experience, just these awarenesses, sometimes just visions will pop in without necessarily having to formally go into the records. And I want to say hello to my sister, Deborah. And Deborah says, past lives is such a powerful notion. Does this mean reincarnation? Not even sure what that means. How do you define past lives? Okay, sister. Great question. So, in the very beginning, so we have a higher self, and you can think of the higher self like up here. And then what's happening is little pieces, little fractals of our higher self are coming down into different incarnations. It's actually all simultaneous. Past lives is sort of an easier way to think of it, but it's actually all happening at the same time. And so you can just think of the higher self is here, and then little cords going down, cords to all these different incarnations that your higher self is simultaneously managing. And so you yourself right here, you're one of many, 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 many incarnations that your higher self is facilitating right now. And your higher self is the integration of all of those lifetimes in many different dimensions. Sometimes you're in a body, sometimes you're not in a body, sometimes you're human, sometimes you're a rock. So the higher self is integrating all of these amazing incarnative experiences. And then, of course, the infinite creator is at the very top, who's managing the higher selves. And all of this is for the infinite creator to just experience itself. That is the infinite creator's main joy, is I'm conscious and I want to fully experience myself. So we have all these different adventures and experiences as fractals originally from the infinite creator. So that's what's going on. And so we're related to all these other incarnative aspects of ourselves. And that's one of the points that I'm bringing up here, is that we can receive gifts and treasures and direct messages and strength and talents from our other aspects. We're very closely related to them. So that's part of the treasures that past life work can bring to us. Okay, so I want to just sort of speak to the first point I made about how just understanding your past life experiences can really help you in your current life. So I brought up some examples of energies that I was noticing. So first of all, I said as a child, I always noticed, oh my gosh, my mother and my sister have this really close connection, and I don't have that with them. And what does that mean? And same with my ex-husband and his stepdaughter. And I also mentioned this courtroom experience I had where I felt like, oh my gosh, this feels so violent. So the invitation for us in this incarnation, and really in every incarnation, is to bring peace, harmony, forgiveness to our relationships. So if we are in any type of challenging relationship, likely we have contracted from the other side to come into this lifetime to bring healing and forgiveness and harmony to this relationship. A way you could think of it is like clearing karma is a way to think of it. We're really just bringing love and forgiveness to relationships where there were challenges and trauma in other lifetimes. So it's my understanding that, for instance, with my sister and my mother, there were difficult interactions in other lifetimes. And we came in to this family in this lifetime in order to bring forgiveness and healing. Same with my ex-husband and my stepdaughter. I've seen lifetimes with them where there was trauma, there was challenges, there was disharmony among the three of us, and we contracted to come together in this lifetime to bring forgiveness and harmony to those relationships. And the same with that experience that I had in the courtroom with that judge, the attorneys, my ex-husband, myself. There had been violence in other lifetimes among us. And the invitation in this lifetime is to bring healing and harmony to those relationships. So to me and the people I work with, this is very helpful. This is a very helpful meta perspective to take, that possibly if you are in a close relationship and it's very challenging and you can feel there's a lot of energy there that you might not even understand. Why do I have like such intense feelings about this? It's possible that you were with this person in another lifetime, there were difficulties, and you've come together in this lifetime to bring peace and harmony and forgiveness. So this is the first way that past life exploration, past life understanding can just really help give you direction and this meta perspective of what is actually going on in this lifetime. And again, the invitation is for forgiveness and peace. And I talk a lot about forgiveness in other videos I have on the channel, but I'll just quickly say, for me and the people I work with, the number one way we move into forgiveness very naturally is by feeling all the feelings. Feel all your feelings, feel all your feelings. Okay. So I want to share 3 different ways that I am familiar with past life exploration. I'm sure there are many other ways, but these are 3 ways that I'm familiar with, and I've used them on myself, and I do them with clients. And I'm just going to give you some examples. So I mentioned the Akashic Records. This is one way to do past life exploration. A very, very simple way to do past life exploration, and you can try it right now at home, is close your eyes and put your hands over your heart and ask your higher self to show you a past life that it would be helpful for you to understand more about for your current life situation. So very, very simple practice. You can try that. Very simple, and it works. And then the third way that I do this with clients is I take them into a deep meditative state, and we access the past lives that way. So the Akashic Records you can do on your own, or you can do it with someone who's familiar, like myself or others. The hand over your heart you can do on your own as well. But going into the deep meditative state, you would do that with a facilitator, like myself. So I want to give a few examples of just the understandings, the healings, and the gifts that you can receive from past life exploration, past life work. Okay. So I talked a bit about my ex-husband and my stepdaughter, and I was just wanting to heal any rifts and difficulties and tensions with my ex-husband and my stepdaughter. And I had really just been praying and praying and praying and trying different things for many, 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 many years. And one night, I literally got down on my hands and knees and I just prayed to Spirit to please help me. Please, please, please help me bring peace and harmony to these relationships, because it was just so heavy on my heart. And my prayer was answered. It really, I count it as a miracle. I was guided to go into the Akashic Records, and I had my eyes closed, and I was shown 4 different lifetimes in the past, really in the parallel, but we'll just say in the past. And there was a lot of trauma in these lifetimes. And then, oh, excuse me. And then some of my guides came in. It was actually Jesus and Mother Mary, who work with me a lot. And they brought me to a healing pool, and I could see energies being released from my body, flowing into this healing pool. And then immediately after that, I was shown these 4 different lifetimes again, and they had different outcomes. The traumas had shifted into more benevolent outcomes between the 3 of us. And it was very magical. I couldn't quite believe it was happening. And then the most amazing thing is, immediately after I came out of that experience, after I came out of the Akashic Records, the conflict energy, the angst in my heart around these people was like 99% gone. And then seeing them again in person, I had an extremely different feeling. I had a feeling of peace. And for instance, over this past weekend, I slept overnight at my ex-husband's house. My precious stepdaughter was here last night having dinner with me and my 2 biological kids. We are at peace and harmony. And I absolutely credit it to that Akashic Records past life healing that I experienced. That has probably been the biggest miracle that I've experienced in my lifetime. It was an immediate healing. And so that is what is possible with this work. So that was facilitated in the Akashic Records. Amazing, absolutely amazing. An example of the past life exploration healing work that you can do just by putting your hand over your heart. I did this just last week, and so an aspect of myself, a past incarnation of myself, is a woman named Katrina Van Tassel. So my first name is Tassel. And another aspect of myself is Katrina Van Tassel, whom Washington Irving wrote about in The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. She was the maiden that Ichabod Crane was in love with. But she was an actual person, and she's my ancestor, but I also am her. We're aspects of each other from our higher self. So I had a sense that there was some healing that I might be able to do around Katrina's lifetime that would also positively impact my life and my relationships now. So I just did this very simple practice. I asked my higher self to show me Katrina's life, anything that would be helpful for me to understand. And I was asking if I could bring healing. And so this is a little heavy, but what I saw was a family member trying to rape her when she was a young woman. And of course, this is upsetting. She was able to prevent it, but this was a very close family member, and so it was causing a lot of difficulty. So I saw this, and then I asked my higher self if we could bring healing. And so we did. We brought healing to Katrina and this family member, and also another family member who was involved. And these two family members are actually part of my family in this lifetime. And it's only been a week. Excuse me. So I'm not quite sure yet if the healing has caught up in current time yet, but my hope and expectation is that it will. So what I'm saying is I went back to this past life of Katrina Van Tassel. There was something really awful that happened, and we brought healing to it. And I expect that in the present family situation, there will be healing amongst myself and these two people who are currently in my current family as family members. It's wild. It's just really wild. Okay. And then one more example of past life work that I wanted to share is, so as I said, I do this work with clients where I bring clients into a deep meditative state, and then usually they end up seeing between 1 and 3 different past lives. And it really depends on the client. So we set an intention before we go in that the exploration, the work we will do will be in the highest and best for the client's current life situation. So I just did one last week with a fabulous client, and so interesting. So immediately when we went in, we set that intention for her highest and best. And when we went in, 2 incarnative aspects popped up. One was an indigenous man, and one was a Celtic woman. And in this particular session, the indigenous man had many, many direct messages for my client. And a lot of it revolved around, because she's really in this beautiful alignment on her path, and it's not always easy. And she's searching for ways to be more in her guidance and her alignment. And the indigenous aspect of her gave her guidance to go within, always go within, and also being in nature is very conducive to really coming into that alignment and really feeling the guidance from the higher self. And he also basically reassured her that you are on your path and just trust your path and you are divinely guided. And then at the end, through the facilitation that I was doing with her, we also brought through 3 different gifts from that lifetime. And one was energetically a ruby that she can access energetically that just has a lot of healing, calming powers for her. And also she received this beautiful cloak that she really tuned in, had to do with her really embodying her priestessness, that this was a real symbol of her really coming into her divine feminine energies and powers as priestess. So that was really cool. And then the second lifetime that we explored was this amazing Celtic woman. And the Celtic woman gave my client messages that she is on track to come together with a beloved soulmate in this lifetime, and that they would end up living at least part-time on the west coast of Ireland, where my client has a lot of lineage, and they would experience a lot of further healing and expansion together in Ireland. And very similar messages as the indigenous man, that to just stay on your path, all is well, you are being divinely protected and cared for. And then among the gifts that she received from this incarnative aspect of her was an orb of light that she can call upon energetically for healing. It's going to come through her hands, this light, for energy work. So that was just amazing. That was an amazing session that we did. My client came out of it just really in tears and really quite overwhelmed with the profoundness of the messages and the gifts. And it also really confirmed a lot of knowingness she had about her path in this lifetime. So it was so magical. So I want to share this information because, as I said in the beginning, this past life work, this past life exploration it's such an amazing tool to use to help you in this lifetime. And just to summarize, again, when you understand what's going on in this lifetime, because of past lifetimes with people, it brings so much clarity and understanding, and it really helps the harmony and forgiveness process. And as I said, you can literally heal past life trauma as well. You can literally change the past. It's really parallel, but we'll say the past. And then, as I just mentioned, you can directly receive messages, direction, guidance, as well as tangible gifts that you can use from these other aspects of yourself. So, and again, it's fascinating. These are some of my very favorite sessions that I do in all of my work because you just never know what's going to happen. It's fascinating to see your own past lives and to connect with other aspects of yourself. So this gets into that we are multidimensional. And so this past life, parallel life work is a way that we connect with our own multidimensionality and bring in all this understanding, learnings, insight, and gifts into this lifetime. And then also it goes both ways. As you are connecting with these other incarnative aspects, you are also gifting them. You are connecting with them. And that is helping them in those lifetimes. So you're a team. You're a team, and you're supporting and helping each other. I mean, you can almost just think of it like these are my sisters and brothers, literally. We're just all living out these different lifetimes, all really in service to our higher self, who's integrating all of the experience as wisdom and expansion. And then the infinite creator is integrating all of that. So it's beautiful. So if you have an interest in having some assistance in any of this, I love this type of work. There's a sign up in the description box to book a free consultation with me. Feel free to do so, or you can email me. My email is drtasselfaith@icloud.com. You can also reach me through my website, drtassel.com. Just reach out to me. This work is amazing. It's life-changing, and I'm here to help if you want to go deeper. And if it feels resonant, please consider giving this video a like, a comment, sharing it. All of that helps me to continue my work. Oh, and please, if you like, subscribe to my channel. All right. This was so fun. I love sharing about past life exploration, past life work. It really is one of the most magical adventures you can take is to dive deep into this work. And it has absolutely amazing benefits. So thank you so much love to you and to your possible past life exploration. Bye for now.